Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. All right, this story we're going to talk about today is definitely getting filed into the cabinet of the absurd. We have a man from Minnesota who claims that he's Jeffrey Epstein's secret love child, and, well, he wants his fortune. Now, I knew that we'd get some wackies coming out of the woodwork trying to get their hands on this dough, but a guy claiming to be Jeffrey Epstein's love child, well, that should probably be pretty easily disproven, right? DNA tests, etc., etc. So I'm sure that they're going to go through the proper steps to check on this man's claim, but I'm going to give this claim 5 chicken parms. That means I don't believe one single sentence of it. But let's jump into this article from OK Exclusive and see what they have to say. I guess they have seen a letter that the man submitted to the Superior Court in the Virgin Islands. So let's see what's what. Headline: Minnesota man claims he's Jeffrey Epstein's secret love child. He wants his fortune. October 8th was when this was published. The author is Chris Spargo. A Minnesota man is claiming that he is the son of Jeffrey Epstein. Michael John Darling has submitted a letter to the Superior Court of the Virgin Islands in which he writes that he is a potential heir of the deceased pedophile and looking to get a piece of his $600 million estate. Honestly, like I said, I am shocked we haven't seen more of this. I am absolutely shocked that we have not seen more people come forward and claim that they're the love child of Jeffrey Epstein or the heir to his fortune. I mean, what we know of now, really, the only person in his family who has really been talked about is his brother Mark. And I know that Mark has 2 grown children, and I think Jeffrey Epstein has a couple of other relatives that live in New York. But besides that, this wasn't like a huge family. Like, I have a gigantic family. I have a bunch of aunts, a bunch of uncles, obviously a ton of cousins. But for Epstein here, it looks like it was just a few family members, and the only one that anyone's ever really talked about for the most part is his brother, right? So I would not be shocked to see a lot more of this, honestly. OK has exclusively obtained the letter Darling sent to the Honorable Carolyn P. Herman Purcell back in August. So the letter is included in this link. So when you click the link, it will be right inside there for you to check out. We'll take a look at it. We'll read it real quick. District Court of the Virgin Islands, Ron DeLago Federal Building. Redacted, room, redacted. St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, 00802. Dear Chief Judge for the District Court of the Virgin Islands, the Honorable Wilma Lewis. District Judge for the District Court of the Virgin Islands, the Honorable Robert Malloy. Magistrate Judge for the District Court of the Virgin Islands, the Honorable George Cannon Jr., and the Magistrate Judge for the District Court of the Virgin Islands, the Honorable Ruth Miller. Please accept this handwritten letter as a document pertaining to the deceased and late Mr. Jeffrey Epstein's estate and any and all trusts he had drafted up. The case file number on file with the judiciary of the U.S. Virgin Islands should be St. Redacted. And that is the letter that is posted right here. So, okay, here's part 2. Please list me, Michael John Darling, as a potential heir to the deceased and late Mr. Jeffrey Epstein's estate and any and all trusts he had drafted up. The case file number filed with the judiciary of the U.S. Virgin Islands should be St. Thomas, redacted. My physical address is redacted, Minnesota, United States of America, 55069. My current mailing address is redacted, Michigan, United States of America, 49757. My current phone number is area code redacted. Wow, okay. I don't even know what to say about this, to be honest with you. It's a bit absurd, right? Obviously, I don't put any credence in it, but as usual, we're following the stories that come out in the news, and usually I'll avoid stuff like this, right? But Magazine has the letter, and they posted the actual letter, the physical letter. That's why I wanted to check it out, and I'm sharing it with you because there's actual documentation of it. So this is a guy who is claiming that he is Jeffrey Epstein's love child, and he wants to get paid. Now, I am sure that there are parameters in place for situations just like this. And I am sure that the court is not just going to accept this man, this letter, this handwritten letter, by the way, folks, handwritten, not typed out, handwritten. I'm sure that the court is not going to just accept this man's claims here. So the court has filed the letter and is now asking Darling to back up this claim with some sort of evidence or proof. An order filed by the court after receiving the letter states that Darling is then required to proceed under the provisions of Rule 7 of the Virgin Islands Rules for Probate and Fiduciary Proceedings. The filing of appropriate pleadings that fully inform the court of the nature of his claim, failing which the court will take any action deemed appropriate, including but not limited to striking the letter dated August 13th, 2020 from the record. So the court is telling Mr. Darling here, look, your claims are all fine and well, but we're going to need you to show up with some receipts. We're going to need real claims, a real claim put into the court. We're going to need you to show up with evidence, and you're going to need proof. And also, they referred him to provisions of Rule 7 of the Virgin Islands Rules for Probate and Fiduciary Proceedings. I am sure that is long and boring, so I am not even going to dive into that. But I'm guessing that that lays out the parameters that this man must meet if he's going to make a claim on Jeffrey Epstein's estate. And with a case like this, we have to be cautious. Like I was saying, you don't know. There's going to be a lot of wacky people that come out of the woodwork. And, like I always tell you folks, use your own sense of intuition, use your own sense of insight, and look at this stuff through your own lenses, right? But for me, from where I'm sitting, I don't put any credence in this claim. He would have to show up with actual DNA records that could be cross-tested for me to believe that this is Epstein's love child. Seems to me like just another person who is trying to get themselves a payday here. In documents filed after Epstein's death, his brother and the sole beneficiary of his estate, Mark, stated under oath that there were no other heirs. Epstein himself also stated this in the last will and testament he signed just days before his alleged suicide. So the burden of proof is going to be very big, very strong for Mr. Darling to prove, right? He's going to have to climb a big barrier because everything that we know on record, Epstein, his family, everyone has said the same thing, that his heir, his sole heir, is Mark, the sole beneficiary. The will, which was filed last August, put Epstein's net worth at over $577 million. It also appointed Epstein's longtime lawyer, Darren Indyke, and close friend and accountant as the executors of his estate. Epstein breaks down his personal property into 12 categories. Cash, $56,547,773. Fixed income investments, $14,304,679. Equities, $112,679,138. Aviation assets, automobile, and boats, $18,551,700. Hedge funds, private equity investments, $194,986,301. New York City mansion, 9th East Street, 71st Street, $55,931,000. New Mexico ranch, $17,246,208. Paris apartment, $8,672,823. Palm Beach mansion on El Brio Drive, $12,380,209. Great St. James, U.S. Virgin Islands, $22,498,600. Little St. James and Red Hook Harbor, $63,874,223. Fine Arts, Antiques, Other Property, to be determined. That adds up to $577,672,654 in personal property. This number will likely surpass $600 million once Epstein's other assets are figured into the equation. A few of those assets were noted in a court filing which was submitted by prosecutors for the Southern District of New York last month. And we know that there's way more money than this, right? Such a prolific money launderer like Jeffrey Epstein certainly has money parked elsewhere. There is accounts elsewhere, I am convinced of that. Are they in his name? I don't know. Will they ever be found? I don't know about that either. But I know that there are a lot of forensic accountants who are really, really good at their jobs. And if it was me who was investigating this, I would employ a team of them to find every last red cent this scumbag ever made. After conferring with law enforcement agents who have reviewed the materials from the safe, the government has learned that the safe contained more than $70,000 in cash. Read a filing by prosecutors arguing against granting Epstein bail, and that's just a pittance, right? 70 grand? That's nothing to him. 70 boxes of pasta, folks? That's nothing to Jeffrey Epstein. Pocket cash. Walk around money. That was probably just the money that he had on hand to pay off any bribes that popped up or anybody who needed to be paid off in regards of the operation. 70 grand, please. In addition, the safe contained 48 loose diamond stones ranging in size from approximately 1 carat to 2.38 carats, as well as a large diamond ring. This is another asset that could be used as currency, right? You don't have to go and trade that in for money. You're paying people off. You can give them diamonds or jewels or whatever it might be, paintings. How hard is it to trace that kind of stuff? Pretty hard, right? A lot harder to trace than doing a bank withdrawal and doing a transfer or whatever into someone's account. So I've always thought that those diamonds were used for Jeffrey Epstein. If he had to go on the lam, he could, use those diamonds to pay people off. Or if there was bribes and something popped up at the house where he had to, get himself out of a jam, he had some liquidity on hand, right? It then noted, the government is currently unaware whether the defendant maintains similar stashes of cash and or jewels at his multiple properties or in other locations. Such ready cash and loose diamonds are consistent with the capability to leave the jurisdiction at a moment's notice. And here we go with another diamond piece in here, right? No pun intended. Another bit of gold. So they don't know if he has any cash or jewels at the multiple other locations? Didn't they raid the other houses? Well, I know they don't know what's in Zorro Ranch because they haven't bothered raiding it yet. So he probably sitting on a treasure pile like the dragon Smog from Lord of the Rings. I mean, are you kidding me right now? What in the hell is going on in New Mexico? I don't mean to digress, but folks, are you kidding me? What is Balderas doing over there? This guy probably has a treasure room underneath the house in Zorro. Epstein and the executors have also hidden properties that he owned in Queens, upstate New York, and Colorado in that will. In addition to his brother, Epstein is survived by 2 aunts, an uncle, and a cousin who all reside in New York. And I was mentioning that earlier. They don't get talked about very often, right? And I don't know if they were involved with Epstein's crimes, and I doubt it. No one's ever brought that up before. But he does not have any children, as far as anyone knows. There has not even been a hint of that. And again, the whole premise of this article about him having this love child and this dude just showing up out of the blue now with his hand out, looking to wet his beak a little bit. Yeah, that does not ring like a true story to me, folks. Indike, who was a resident of Florida and New York, and Khan were both named executors, despite the fact that neither man lives in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Also included in the documents was Epstein's death certificate, which was submitted before his cause of death had been determined by the coroner. So, look, we can go back to the Jeffrey Epstein death and what led up to it, and we could talk about that literally for 5, 6, 7 straight episodes. That's how much is there. But I don't know about you guys and you ladies out there, but me personally, how can you submit the death certificate before the cause of death had been determined? Unless, of course, you might have had a plot going. Look, who knows? Again, these are questions that need to be answered. And I don't think it's some sort of wild conspiracy theory to want answers about what happened in that jail cell. I am perfectly willing to accept that he did kill himself, if you provide that evidence for me. Until then, I can't point to something that looks shady or more shisty than this dude's death. His brother Mark has maintained a low profile ever since his brother's death. He put his office up for rent and fled New York City for Florida, which is listed as his primary residence at this time. He is not married, but he is the father of 2 teenage children. Well, that's odd. I never heard about Jeffrey Epstein's nephews or nieces hanging out at his house, his grown children, right, hanging out with him, or any mention of that, really. Pretty interesting tidbit. Again, another little tidbit, right? As for Darling, he has yet to provide any concrete proof that ties him to Epstein, and the man has done this before in a famous case. Back in 2016, he claimed to be the potential heir to another man, Prince, and cash in on his fortune. And there you go, folks. Right at the end there, they slipped that in. Now remember, I don't read these articles before we read them on air. We read them together here. So every now and then they'll slip one by me at the end here. But it's obvious that this guy is a shyster, right? It's obvious that he's playing games. He's not Prince's kid. He's not Jeffrey Epstein's kid. All right? Just another psychopath who is probably lonely and experiencing some sort of mental problems would be my guess. But look, at the end of the day, we have to expect that there's going to be plenty of people like this. There's going to be plenty of people who come forward and look to get some money out of this or build their profile out of this or whatever may have you. And it is not going to be an easy task for these people to slip in these sort of false claims, these sort of nonsensical claims, because people are really paying attention to this case. And I know for a fact, you guys out there, you folks listening out there, you're not getting gaslit by nobody. You're not getting fooled by nobody. You're checking your sources twice, like you're Santa Claus checking lists. And that's the way it has to be, right? Unfortunately, there is so much disinformation in a case like this that there's going to be a lot of BS nonsense that we have to wade through. But that said, there were a couple of decent tidbits in here, right? We had a rundown of the money, what he had, what his finances look like. The diamonds again was a good reference for us to jump back and talk about New Mexico and that not being raided. So, there's, like always, we always find ourselves with a little bit of gold and a little bit of context in these articles that adds to the greater story. So while the article itself is ridiculous about Jeffrey Epstein having this love child, a few of the tidbits in there made it worthwhile. All right, everybody. So I will be back later on, and we will pick this right back up where we started, right? And continue on with the story and keep it going. But for now, that's going to do it for this episode of the Jeffrey Epstein Show. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI.